Ladies, if you are menopausal as fuck, you love your caffeine, cortisol's over the place, stop making this mistake. I'm going to get right into it. So, menopause, progesterone, estrogen start slowly going pretty close to zero. What's happening when your estrogen declines is that insulin resistance is picking up, which is basically when you consume carbohydrates, you store them as fat instead of energy. The other thing that's going to be happening there is your metabolism is going to slow down on that as well. Now, progesterone going pretty close to zero, that a couple things. Progesterone is like your chill hormone. They call it like nature's sleep aid because it helps you get to sleep and it helps you chill out. Now, if you don't have any of that, your cortisol becomes very, very hard to regulate, which is throwing everything for a loop. That's where you're going to see increased belly fat storage. You're going to see really hard time losing fat, even if your nutrition, your exercise dialed in. You're going to see a lot of different things from that cortisol being all over the place. Let me fix this camera. Hold on. That's a little better. There we go. So there's better. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of different things from that cortisol, the progesterone drop and that cortisol becoming dysregulated. Now, caffeine, every time you drink caffeine, it is going to spike cortisol. Now, if you are a habitual caffeine drinker, you built up a good tolerance, it's not going to be a huge spike. And the more you have it, the more you do. If you get to a point where like you're jittery or maybe you had like too much one day or whatever it is, it just you had it on an empty stomach and you feel that big jittery, that's not good. That is like, that's your cortisol spiking. You're going to throw your hormones for a tailspin. You're going to have cravings up the Yahoo the rest of the day. It's just not going to be good at all. So there is a lot of research on habitual caffeine consumers and that cortisol spike not being as high. Now, in terms of testing, like it really just depends. We'll get into testing and blood work in a second, but we have some clients that actually fast and have caffeine. We have clients that have caffeine first thing in the morning. They don't really wait for that cortisol awakening response to go down. So it's not like a one size fits all. And you're probably thinking like, oh, well, you made all this content on, how bad caffeine is on an empty stomach and how bad caffeine is first thing in the morning. Yes, to an extent, right? So obviously you have the research that habitual caffeine consumers, it's not big of a spike. Also, it's going to be like a person to person's tolerance, right? If someone can drink caffeine all day long and like not have any effects of like high cortisol, you're probably good to go. And you're probably thinking like, okay, well, what are the effects? Well, you can get blood work done. That's going to be highly inaccurate. And I don't know what the fuck it is, but so many of you women out there are just like so hung up and like focused on hormonal blood work. And even your doctor will tell you that's fucking, it's like so variable. You get tested one day, you get tested the next day, completely out to lunch. You get tested throughout the day. It's like, it's completely different, right? And there's a couple reasons for this. Number one is obviously that's just naturally fluctuation, but I'm not saying don't get your blood work. Get your blood work done, get your physicals done. Like there are a lot of things that you need to measure in your blood work that are just you need for your overall health that will keep you healthy, like liver and kidney dysfunction. But like all your hormones, they're just chemical messengers. So you've probably been to a doctor and they're like, yeah, your blood work looks good. You're in reference ranges, right? But you're still symptomatic as fuck. If you have these chemical messengers sending out, they can be perfect, but you have something, if you have poor cell membrane health, right? For example, maybe you don't take omega-3s, that signal is not really going to get into that cell efficiently or at all, right? You also have things called endocrine disruptors, which disrupt the signal. Pesticides, I talk about that a lot. That's why it's important for you to follow the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. Now, kind of backtracking a little bit, that's why it's like you need to look at it from a symptom standpoint and not really like the blood work is, I don't know why so many practitioners are still getting so fucking hung up on blood work and using that as like the gold standard. It's not. Good doctors, you can go to them and be like, yeah, you're symptomatic as fuck. Like, I don't need to do blood work to tell me you're on menopause. Like, you have all the symptoms for it. Cool. Here's your shit, right? Now, symptoms will give you a precise look. And, for some blood work, you can get what's called a 3-month constant where you get a snapshot there. And that's reflective of what it's been for 3 months. For hormones, you can't get a 3-minute snapshot. So symptom assessments, that's what we use. It allows us to retest without going to a doctor. It's free. It's easy. Usually the best solution is the simplest. It's a 10-minute form we have our clients fill out every single month. And we get a precise look on actually what is going on hormonally, right? And for cortisol, yeah, blood work's gonna be fuck all, but all the symptoms, and I'll kind of go through them. Some of this is from memory, but you can DM me on Instagram for my full hormone symptom checklist. The biggest one you're gonna feel is wired yet tired. Like you're wired, but you're tired at the same time, right? That's the biggest thing. Brain fog, trouble remembering things. You're gonna have even if your diet and your training's dialed in, you're eating a calorie deficit, all the foods, and your fat loss is either stalled or just like very slow. That's a huge sign. What else? Belly fat storage is a big one. Insulin resistance. There's a bunch of other ones, but if you have like 6 or more, that's a sign that you have high cortisol and you should not be having caffeine first thing when you wake up or an empty stomach. If you don't have any of these things, you're probably good to go. Like as long as, especially if you don't have any of those symptoms and doesn't cause you to like, comfort eat later in the day, you're probably fine. So that's kind of where we're at with obviously how it affects menopause a lot more because that cortisol, as that progesterone drops to pretty close to zero, it becomes very hard to regulate. So anyways, hope this helps. Love y'all. And if you want that symptom checklist, go on Instagram and DM me.